It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Force, where we profile characters from the galaxy far, far away. The Star Wars galaxy. I am David Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Big weekend of news this past weekend. Finally.
My phone was blowing up. All the tweets.
Yes. From New York Comic Con. We got our first glimpse of Star Wars Rebels. We got our first look at the villain of Star Wars Rebel, and we'll get into all of that here in a little while. We'll also talk about Star Wars, the comic book. Number 10 came out this past week. Of course, we'll do some trivia, and before all of that goes down, we are going to be profiling. We're going to continue to profile someone from the Clone Wars era, because we are mashed up right now this month with Popular Fanatics. Tune in this week where we talk about Return of the Jedi, the movie Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
And then we'll finish up next week with another character, as well as talking on Popular Fanatics about the entire prequel trilogy, all summed up into one episode. So check that stuff out with us at popularfanatics.com. And, of course, we're at InsideTheForce.com, where you can listen to all the past 29 podcasts. Follow us at Inside the Force, and send us your comments and questions if you have any. All right, so this month we've been doing the Clone Wars in conjunction with Popular Fanatics. The first 2 weeks we did a couple bad guys in a sense. Yeah. Because I texted Casey, I was like, "Who should we profile?" He's like, "Somebody good."
Yeah, good guy.
Because we did Asajj Ventress first week, and then last week we did Death Watch, which is a group of evil people, the Mandalorians that kind of separated from the main cause there. And now we are going to hit on a Jedi, a very famous Jedi, but you really don't see him get into much action until the Clone Wars.
Right.
Because he's basically sitting on the council in episode 1,
yeah.
Does a little bit of fighting in episode 2, and of course episode 3 he meets his demise. And we are talking about Jedi Master Plo Koon, who is a Delmore male from the planet Doran, and not really sure about his birth date. There's big controversy on here right now, so we'll just kind of skip
until
that
we get the
part.
word from Lucas. We won't know. Really.
Exactly. Now, Plo Koon was, as all Jedis, very, very Force sensitive when he was born. Noticed early, turned over to the Jedi Council after he was born, and went to train, of course, on Coruscant, the Jedi Academy on Coruscant. After being trained through his childhood years, and of course, eventually passing the trials, became eligible to be a Padawan, selected by Jedi Master Tyvaka to be the Padawan of the Jedi Master, and started becoming trained. Now, he eventually, which is pretty neat, has a niece, Shay Koon, who is also adopted into the Jedi Council, becomes a part of the Jedi Order later on, and it talks about how they have a close relationship, even though they're not supposed to form any kind of attachments.
That's what struck me as strange, because I knew, from the movies, of course, not allowed to have like a loving kind of relationship, like Padme and Anakin, but not even a family relationship, like not a close like that.
I think it's, and I think this is really the big debate too. It could be a big debate, because Anakin, we're kind of getting off subject here, but Anakin does make a good point, like in episode 2, how he's like, attachment, is forbidden,
Right.
but compassion is central to a Jedi. I'm basically quoting.
Yeah,
compassion is essential to a Jedi's life, and some say compassion is basically conditional love, unconditional love. So I think that's what it is. I think you can care about somebody, but you just cannot be attached to them. Yeah. So
he obviously was attached to him.
Absolutely, but if something ever happens, you just can't let it affect you. Yeah. That's what Yoda kept always saying.
Yeah.
Like no matter what happens to you, you cannot feel.
Like about his mother.
Yes. Yeah. You can the fear, remember he says you were afraid to lose her when young Anakin is standing in front of you. You can't be afraid because that's what leads to the dark side. So you can I think there's, I don't know, it's hard to say. I think there's because look at all the ones that even though it's considered forbidden, we noticed Obi-Wan has a love relationship.
Yeah. There's several people who are breaking
several
rules.
Star Killer's parents, so it's like, I guess it's possible. It's just I think it's the part about being afraid to lose them, being afraid to have something happen to them. That's what really causes the turn, I think. Anyways,
I was just curious.
Yeah, it is curious. That was a curious thing to know because I don't know anybody else that has family members, at least that I've researched, that has a family member that's also a Jedi.
Right.
But anyway, so he gets through training as a Padawan and becomes a Padawan under Jedi Master Tavaka, and eventually becomes elevated to the rank of Jedi Knight after several years of training, obviously, and then a big event happens, which Casey's going to talk about.
Yeah, I guess at some point, Plo Koon goes through the trials or whatever, and he's on his own for a while, Jedi Knight. So he's on his own, and he goes back to his home planet, kind of studying the ways of what's called the Baron Do, which is, quickly looking it up here, Baron Do, it's just a tradition, some sort of Keldor tradition. Haven't really researched much about that, but I guess he's getting.
That's another episode.
Yeah, he's getting in touch with his roots. He's still a Jedi. He actually studied as a Jedi Guardian. It says here, and we haven't talked really about the different classifications of a Jedi, but players of the KOTOR games know all the stuff about Jedi Guardian, Jedi Counselor, Jedi Inquisitor, or whatever it's called. I don't know, but Jedi Guardian, it's just it's as it says. As we researched, they're more skilled with the lightsaber, or they use their skills with the lightsaber more than diplomacy. Like I guess they're more soldiers or peacekeepers than get into politics, that kind of stuff. So Plo Koon's just kind of chilling. He's on his home world, and he's working, helping them out as a Jedi Guardian. Then Jedi Master Tavaka comes to him, and basically just offering him to join the ranks of the High Council, and humbly, Plo Koon declines it. Just it says kind of like how Qui-Gon Jinn and also Count Dooku. They all said no, although they were super awesome Jedis. They could have been awesome in the High Council, but Plo Koon, respectfully declined it, wishing to still kind of be in the field, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because that's basically the trade-off.
Yeah,
is you're sitting in the council the whole time. You don't really go out and do much.
That's what he did. Like I just always, episode 1, he was just always one of those Jedis that just sat there.
Yes.
The same thing with the guy with the long neck. Just
even Mace. And you don't see Mace fight until he has to.
Yeah.
But
so I didn't even know he had, what he sounded like until the Clone Wars TV show came out.
That's right.
So it's like,
I don't think he talks at all in the movies.
No,
does
he doesn't. So he's declines being on the High Council for now, and this is around 46 BBY, around that era, a little before BBY, 46 BBY, but shortly after this kind of I don't know what you call it, rendezvous, reconnection with his former master, Tavaka asks Plo Koon to join him on this mission to the world of Troikan. Now something's happened on Troikan where Tavaka and Plo Koon, they're acting as diplomats for the Galactic Republic, where they are going to try to negotiate peace between the Trade Federation and this independent pirate Iako Stark. I guess all this is happening on Troikan. I guess that's why they're going there. This guy Stark, this pirate, he has been stealing Bacta supplies, and about Bacta tanks. It's just a healing agent.
Right.
He steals Bacta supplies from cargo vessels, and he sells them at a lower price, and much lower than what the Trade Federation sells Bacta supplies. And now Trade Federation, they're losing business, and they can't afford this pirate going out there selling the same type of supplies. So the Trade Federation goes to the Galactic Senate and petitions them to basically intervene and stop the pirate on their behalf. So this is what they're doing. Galactic Senate, I guess, accepted the petition and sent Tuvaka, who recruited Plo Koon, to go stop the pirate. So this is what they're doing right now. It seems like it escalates very quickly. Where
it does.
Tuvaka and Plo Koon are seems like they're going to try to negotiate peace, but somewhere there's some factions or whatever in the government, I guess from the Trade Federation, corruption, whatever, I don't know. They want a more direct action. They want more work to be done than just a peace negotiation. And so they organize an attack on the pirate Stark, his men, his troops, or the guys who are stealing the Bacta tanks. So this faction of the government attacks Stark, and it leads to this big, huge firefight where Plo Koon and Tuvaka are caught right in the middle. And actually, sadly enough, Tuvaka gets killed in the crossfire, and Plo Koon makes it. So, in response to Tuvaka's death, Plo Koon just, a lot of the profiles I feel like we've been doing, we've been talking about these Jedi like Asajj Ventress. Whenever a death happens, they just go off the deep end and go crazy and go to the dark side, and that's it. Well, Plo Koon, instead, he rallies a bunch of Republic forces and just fights back, and defeats the. I guess he defeats the pirate, and maybe that, I don't know. He's not fighting with that faction of the government. I don't know. I guess it's this government faction starts the conflict, and then the pirates fight the Republic. And so the Plo Koon leading the Republic defeats the pirate,
right?
Stark. So Plo Koon's victorious. It actually known as a hero of the Republic, and this whole event has since then been labeled as the Stark Hyperspace War. Stark because of the pirate, the leader of the bad guys. So Plo Koon won this whole brief war for the Republic in response to his master's death, and during this time, after this time, Plo Koon basically, because it's one of the last wishes of his master was join the High Council, and he said no. So basically, in memory and in honor of his former master, Plo Koon decides to accept that membership. And you would tell me, Dave,
they grant him a lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime,
seat. Which
sounds from an infomercial, but this is real, and you don't see it often. Lifetime membership.
I haven't heard of it since. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Because I guess lifetime membership means. Well, what would that really mean? Just that you're almost like 10 years or something.
Well,
like that?
no. Well, we learned, I think, when we did Yoda that these guys are actually voted on.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to be voted on.
He just
he cannot be replaced.
Yeah. Because
Yoda was voted as the Grand Master.
Right.
And at one point, I think we looked it up. I can't remember the. But Mace was...
He's Master of the Order?
Master of the Order,
right? Yeah.
Correct. So those are all elected positions. So, and then the other ones are elected too. But since he has a lifetime seat, no one can replace him, basically, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so that's pretty awesome honor. And also during this time, Plo Koon joins... He builds a strong friendship with fellow council member Micah... Giet, I think is how you pronounce his last name, but I don't know this guy. I don't think he's in the movies. Just a former current master of the council. So becomes friends with him, and they go on many adventures, many missions, and that kind of stuff. And so from here, there's a bit of a gap from this point, which is 46 BBY, all the way up until the episode 1 era, where not much else happens before the Clone Wars. But what else? What else could we talk about here?
Well, the only other thing I think, which we had talked about, we didn't realize, but Plo Koon is responsible for finding the Force-sensitive Ahsoka Tano.
Right.
When she was a very young
Yeah.
child. And I think that was mentioned in the movie, the Clone War movie.
Yeah.
But apparently there's an animation scene of it,
Yeah.
which I don't know if that was in the Clone Wars. I don't remember that being in any of the seasons, but
like I knew
maybe
they were
it was.
close just because they had many episodes together. But I'm trying to find.
That's what I'm saying. I know they talk about it a little bit.
But like that shot where you just mentioned it was like a youngling Ahsoka. I'm trying to find it because it, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just forgot about that little part.
At some point, he before I'm assuming it's right around episode 1 or right after episode 1, he finds Ahsoka because I think she's early teenager by the time of Clone Wars, like she's 12 or 13 by the time Clone Wars is. But we are going to profile Ahsoka at some point. We're planning on hopefully doing that when we possibly have a guest on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was responsible for discovering Ahsoka Tano, and Ahsoka ended up being a very vital point of the Clone Wars, under being a Padawan under Anakin Skywalker. But other than that, it just has the only thing we know about Plo Koon is his missions during the Clone Wars, which obviously is during all the seasons, and of course there is a story arc with him that we will get early next year.
Jeez, yeah.
In the deleted scenes where he finds apparently something to do with Sifo Dyas is what I think everything was pointing towards. So we will get a new story with him coming in the next release of the what was going to be season 6.
Yeah. Get a bridged version.
A bridged version, yeah. So, but unfortunately, anybody who's seen episode 3 understands what happens to Plo Koon. I think he's on Kadam Nemoria, I think is when he gets shot down by Order 66.
Yes.
So Plo Koon, unfortunately, didn't survive the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But overall, a very, very skilled and respected Jedi through his years, and very, very strong. Being able to fight off the war and the hyperspace war there. So, big turning point. And what was great, I think, about learning about that battle a little bit, some major things came out of that battle.
Yeah, Stark hyperspace war you're talking about?
Yeah, as you mentioned, he was granted a lifetime seat on the Jedi Council. But other big things that happened in the end, it was, I don't know if it was ever discovered, but the actual war was orchestrated by Darth Sidious as one of the plans of the early schemes.
I would assume he go to Mask as well, because he's a
probably, absolutely. Because, Trade Federation, of course, was basically conducted by Sidious a lot. Now, the Stark, his group consisted of pirates and bounty hunters and mercenaries, and actually one of the bounty hunters that came out of it to start his career was Bosk. He was at that battle. Newt Gunray became viceroy after this, and then Finis Valorum, who was the senator at the time, after this got elected Supreme Chancellor.
Yeah.
So this really set in motion a lot of the stuff that ends up becoming the leads up to episode 1 in the Clone Wars.
Valorum was Chancellor for like 14 years.
Yeah, before he. That's right. Yeah, I'm not sure how. That's something maybe we talk about if they have terms or if they just when it's time. I don't think they do when it's time to.
Isn't it like British Parliament? Isn't there a third Chancellor kind of like?
I guess I don't know.
They have a Chancellor, right? I don't even know.
The British Parliament?
Yeah, Chancellor.
I think they do.
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not a
British Prime Minister, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if they have a term or not, or if he just keeps getting elected. I don't know. But they vote him out right away. Yeah. They vote him out pretty quickly.
Oh my gosh. Out.
All right, so that is Plo Koon. Next week, we'll probably do another good guy, I guess, because we did 2 bad guys. So we might hit up probably not a Jedi, probably maybe a military.
Yeah.
Or senator.
Oh, wait, never mind. No, I had something, but never mind.
Okay. So, before we get into some news, real quick, this number 10 of Star Wars, that comic book, great issue.
Yes.
For you guys out there, if you want to read just a killer book that's part of the original trilogy, basically, it takes place between 4 and 5. This is some good stuff going on in that book. At this point, in number 10, Luke and Wedge are still trying to get off the Star Destroyer. I think are they on Devastator? Are they on? Yeah, I think they're on Devastator. And
is that the one? Well, it's the one that shows up at the end. Is it Devastator? I think that's right.
Maybe.
Not sure.
I think it is. So they're on there trying to get off, and they end up sneaking on some TIE fighters, but they end up being caught in the middle of what's going to be a very interesting issue for the number 11. Leia is still on a Star Destroyer, not controlled by the Republic anymore. But
it's like a refitted Clone Wars freighter, actually.
Yeah,
which is pretty interesting. But it is, it's Imperial,
and it's at the Alderaan wreckage.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Very interesting. And then, of course, there's Chewie and Han still trying to escape Bossk and Boba Fett on Coruscant. So it's just some great stories going on. Then of course, you got Vader discovering at this point. Like you find out how he, finds out Luke is around, because that is a big story that happens in Episode 5, obviously, where he, it's skipped over that he knows that Luke Skywalker is around.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense.
3 years, right?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So at some point during those 3 years, he finds out that he has a Force-sensitive son out there.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh.
This makes all kinds of sense.
Hey, what do you mean, Darth Vader? I mean...
So we recommend definitely pick this book up. It's a great read.
Yes. The cover finally actually tells something about the story.
It does.
It's not just some random cover.
Absolutely.
But I love
Luke
the
and
cover.
Wedge.
Yeah.
The first scene with them in this book is phenomenal. It's very emotional. Wedge, kind of opening up to Luke.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Very well written by Brian Wood. All right, so let's get into the big news.
Well, I want to hold off on all the Rebel stuff. Just a couple of Episode 7 things. Harrison Ford and Benedict Cumberbatch were both on the Graham Norton show. It's a UK show, and quite popular over there. They were interviewed. I don't know. I guess Cumberbatch was interviewed for that Julian Assange, The Fifth Estate, that movie, and Harrison Ford, I guess, was Ender's Game. But it's just strange because they're both there, and Harrison Ford with the whole Episode 7, is he or is he not going to be in it? And Benedict Cumberbatch also, is he going to be in it? And they were both basically asked that question. They both just kind of play it off, they're just mumbled an answer, but no, I don't know, kind of thing. When they were asked if they're going to be in Episode 7. And I've been reading reports too that Harrison Ford still is undecided whether or not he's going to be in Episode 7, which I feel like it's official,
smoke.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it's all just smoke and mirrors.
He really is just having fun whenever people ask that question. But Cumberbatch too, he just he's still being pretty coy with it all. So seems like seems like he's in it.
I will stand by. I really believe that they're waiting until the entire script is complete.
Yeah.
And everything is just ready to go, and I think they're going to have a big announcement of all the cast members. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sticking with.
And another kind of very interesting news, which I'm actually I just honestly just remembered. I'm trying to find the source, but it's basically about Star Wars, the first trailer for Star Wars Episode 7. When are we going to see the trailer? And it's surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, we kind of figured this. It's rumored that it is going to be in April. And I'm trying to find the specific date. I believe it was April 4th. And
well, how would they do May the 4th?
That's very true, honestly. I think is there a movie? I feel like there's some movie coming out. Anyways, I'm trying to find this real quick. Okay,
Well,
so
isn't Captain America coming in
Captain
May?
America. That's what it is. It's coming out when Captain America comes out. So in Jedi News reported this, and the teaser. It's going to be a teaser trailer. It arrives in April 2014 when Captain America: The Winter Soldier comes out, and it says the teaser will have the release date of November 11th, 2015, which is different from the December rumor that we've been hearing as well. But it also kind of coincides a little bit with Ant-Man, which was moved from a November release date, so that got bumped. So the whole basically
to when? To 2016 or earlier?
I think later, just later 2016. I think. I mean, I'll double check that. But basically, this is all the whole like theory behind all this is basically they want to have Disney wants to have Avengers 2 capitalize on the summer blockbuster stuff. They want Star Wars to capitalize on the fall, and maybe they want Ant-Man to be in the winter or something like that. I don't know. It says here actually says July 2015, so it's just later in summer. Ant-Man. So I guess they want.
Oh, they
Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They moved Ant-Man up.
Up. Okay, so the Avengers would be in May, Ant-Man July, and I guess Star Wars maybe in November is what they're saying.
Wow,
that is crazy. That's
from Disney.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So if that's true, that's very interesting. I feel like November is just a weird time. I mean, Thor's coming out in November.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I feel like it's like dead. Like that thing, the movies get forgotten. Or I don't know, but it's Star Wars, so I'm sure it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it says
I guess they just didn't want to just put all three. I mean, it's smart not to definitely pit Avengers with Star Wars.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
if you did Star Wars in May and Avengers in, even if you pushed it to June, you'd still be competing, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Also, another interesting part, it says that the trailer will be non-live action, which I guess meaning it's going to be CG. The whole thing will be CG. Whether we see
just environments, probably.
Yeah, like so it said something close to the Rebels trailer, which also is pretty awesome.
That would be awesome.
So there you go. It's another rumor to add on top of the other rumors. But let's get into some facts. About Rebels. Finally, now Force.net did a very good summary of all the just a bunch of the highlights. Because my phone was being lit up 1,000 different times of all these different breaking news that when Rebels is going to be like this, it's going to be like this. So here's kind of just a big summary of what we now know about Star Wars Rebels. You can go on StarWars.com where it talks a lot about this, and Dave Filoni actually has a video where he talks some about it. So the probably the coolest thing, I'm gonna go backwards because the coolest thing is about the villain, and we should probably talk about that last, right?
Probably.
Okay. So one thing, the Empire and the Rebellion are not the only major forces in the series. There may be bounty hunters as well. So maybe that will be including Cad Bane or something like that. Who knows? Some people from the Clone Wars.
Well, definitely Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yeah. So the series will shift in tone in the 4th episode, although it's not really sure what that means. I remember reading that tweet too, that there's going to be a drastic shift in the tone in the series, which why the 4th episode, I don't know. And they already know the 4th episode, which is pretty cool to me that they already know that.
Yeah.
And there will be major emphasis on the Imperial side of things. Their development will occur alongside of the heroes of the Rebels. So it's going to be split very much with Imperials and with the Rebel side, which I love. I love that part of it. The series will progress in chronological order, unlike Clone Wars, which was bouncing all over the place.
Yes.
And they do this because the Rebels is going to be following a core group of main Rebel characters. We're going to get, the Clone Wars, you saw some clones here, some clones there, droids, you saw Jedi, different Jedi, bounty hunters, all that stuff. This is sticking to a very core group of Rebels, which, they want to have someone to, carry on the audience. He wants the audience to, relate to somebody throughout the entire show. So that's pretty cool. George Lucas is not involved in the production of Rebels, although his older notes still influence the creative process. Which, so I mean, that was pretty adamant. I guess they were saying like George Lucas is not in it whatsoever. Although the crew has less lead time on Star Wars Rebels than they did on the Clone Wars, they are working faster. They're actually completing these episodes much faster than they are with the Clone Wars because they had the experience from the Clone Wars, basically. So I guess but it sounds like they're just kind of getting the thick of things with animation right now because Dave Filoni wasn't even at in Comic-Con. New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be appearances by characters from the Clone Wars. The show will feature some kind of Jedi presence, of course, and hopefully it does. No assets from the Clone Wars will be used. I'm just going to skip over this. Basically, it's saying no. They're basically creating everything else from scratch because it's a totally different style animation. And if you saw the trailer, you'd see the color palette's different. The texture is just a little different than what we saw from the Clone Wars. I mean, it's still 3D animation. But
I was about to say, to me, it didn't look too much different.
I thought it was just the color was just really different.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because it was a starter story.
But when we get into like the villain, like he looks like
you saw that
animation,
that jaw, where the strong lines.
Yeah.
But I think it's literally just like textures and color. I think is the biggest thing that they're going with different. There will be a new Imperial character and vehicle design, and the biggest one is the ATDP, which stands for All Terrain Defense Pod. The ATDP looks almost like the ATST. It's actually early concept drawing of the ATST by Joe Johnston, the guy who directed Captain America, and he was big on. He worked a lot on the original trilogy, but there's also the ATDP Trooper. There is a new freighter, a Rebel freighter. I think it's a Rebel freighter. There's a new speeder bike design, and there's actually, and a lot of fans are loving this. There's a Imperial troop transport, which is inspired by an old Kenner toy. So like an old, from the 80s or whatever, the 70s and 80s toy that we never saw in the movies is finally being brought to the Rebel show. None of the stormtroopers will be clones. This is because, according to George Lucas's notes, the clones proved too individualistic, whereas stormtrooper recruits would be more patriotic. Some of the clones that stuck, there's going to be like a few clones that are still around because of the enhanced aging process. They are like 54 years old. They're really old.
Right.
So because of this, there's only a few left, and they are only around to train the stormtroopers, basically. And that's pretty much going to be it with the clones. Everything else is going to, regular Joes.
Yeah.
So all stormtroopers are volunteers. There is no draft. There will be a storyline involving the frontier planet Lothal, which is a totally new planet they've just created. There's not even a Wikipedia page on this. Where the Imperials will try to recruit the natives of Lothal using propaganda posters. And the series will be set 14 years after Revenge of the Sith. 5 years before A New Hope. So Luke and Leia...
There's still a lot of time in between there.
That's very
to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, 14 years after. So, yeah, old people now. Okay, now the big...
We definitely will get... I think we'll definitely get
stuff.
like a Han Solo
in
this show.
Oh, really? That'd be pretty cool.
I think so.
That'd be so weird.
Because he'd be... I mean, he's older than... He's like 20.
Yeah.
He'd be like 20 or so, right? I think.
Yeah, mid-20s. Early 20s, mid-20s. Whatever. The main villain... This is the biggest news. The main villain of Rebels will be... He's kind of being called right now the Imperial Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's this really... He's actually... You said he's the same species as the Utapau. Utapauians, how do you say
He's
them?
from Utapau.
Tall, lanky, white, with kind of some funky stuff on his face. And he wields a double-bladed lightsaber that spins.
Yes.
Which is insane. And he has been assigned to hunt down the remaining Jedi by Darth Vader. Which, they didn't say we're actually going to see Darth Vader, but this is the only mention of Darth Vader we've gotten. So, that's it. That's all we know about Rebels, pretty much. Just
side note, Han Solo would be 24.
24. Okay. There you go.
Because he is born in 29 BBY. Am I doing the math right? Because that means he would be 10 when the Clone Wars ended, right? And then 24. 14 years later.
Wait, he would be 10 when Revenge of the Sith... Oh, when the Clone Wars ended, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, Revenge of the Clone Wars ended, yeah. So
14 years later?
Plus
10,
24, yeah. Your math is correct.
So he's 10 years older than the twins.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that, actually. I thought he was only like 5 or 6 years older. But he's 10
I knew
years
Harrison Ford was much older, but... Yeah.
Right. But Han was born in 29 BBY.
Okay. Cool. So that would make him about 29 in New Hope, right? If it's 5 years before.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Good to know. All right, so Imperial Inquisitor. Now, if you guys should, I wish we could show you a picture, but just look up a picture. Go to StarWars.com or something, or just Google Imperial Inquisitor. I'm sure there's pictures everywhere now. They have some early animation, I guess, which looks pretty good, even if that. And yeah, I mean, this guy looks pretty insane. He looks like he can mess some people up.
Yeah.
It's got a Darth Vader kind of look.
And I wonder where Starkiller is going to come up.
That's very interesting. Someone asked that question at Comic-Con, and the guys just kind of, they're like, I'm not going to comment. If this guy has any relation to Starkiller, whether or not he's a predecessor to Starkiller or something, I don't know. So yeah. I'm assuming this guy's obviously, I'm sure he's just like a dark Jedi. I don't know if he's like Sith or anything like that, but I mean,
well, I think he's probably going to be
a Sith assassin.
Yeah, because it seems like that's been the theme.
Yeah,
is that the master and apprentice train a assassin?
Yeah,
not in the intent of technically becoming a Sith.
Yeah,
like that's basically how we discovered about Darth Maul.
Yeah,
is that he was an assassin for years.
Right.
Never ever really with the intent of ever becoming a Sith Lord until Sidious, basically decided to kill Plagueis. But even when in The Force Unleashed, where Vader discovers Galen Marek, and for some reason takes him under, sees the power that he has, obviously, because he's born of two Jedi, and trains him, and eventually, but he never comes out until I think it was like 1 BBY, right? It was like a year before.
Guess, yeah.
When the rebellion, see, that's the thing too, is that we found this out when we did that Rebel Month, right?
Yeah.
You listen back a couple months if you want to Rebel Month, where we hit on the three, basically the three senators that formed the Rebel Alliance: Bail Organa, Garm Bail Iblis, and Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Everything was forged and formed of what happened in the Force Unleashed games. Galen Marek, who is Starkiller, and as I guess the bad guy Starkiller.
Yeah.
But he rallies these people, these three senators behind him in fighting against Vader and the Emperor at that point, and they take his family crest, and that's the family crest is the Republic symbol, the new Republic symbol, or the Rebel Alliance symbol.
Yeah.
And I guess that eventually becomes the
Republic,
the new Republic, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. So it seems like as if, like, since he's not even, I guess, known to anybody until then, it seems like Vader recruited somebody else to hunt down the Jedis, because obviously, I think we read this too, after the Clone Wars, somewhere between 70 and 80 Jedi survived, including obviously Yoda and Obi-Wan. But there's like 70 of them scattered out of the thousands that there were. They're all dead. So Vader is tasked with hunting down these Jedis by the Emperor. And of course, if you think about it, like you said, the Clone Wars, the clones are aging. They're not, fighting soldiers anymore, really. Right. So they are starting to build their empire. You can't really, to me, in a way, I think it's logical. You can't really hunt down Jedis, just clone, which are stormtroopers. Yeah. So, I think it wouldn't surprise me if this Inquisitor is not the only one we ever hear about. He's probably going to have several assassins out there trying to find, you know what I mean? So, and I don't know about this show, but I'm saying like the 14-year gap. There's got to be other ones, that maybe get killed by some Jedi or something like that. I don't know. And then of course Starkiller is the next in line. So I don't think it interferes at all with the games or with with that storyline, because that storyline is canon. That stuff with Galen Marek. So so it's very interesting that they brought this, but of course they have to create someone new. Right. You can't just have anybody else. But I hope we get Vader.
I want to see Vader.
You know what I mean?
I hope we see Mon Mothma, Bell Bliss, and Bail Organa. I hope we see all those guys. Yeah. Vader, or Emperor. That'd be cool.
Well, you think about it, Princess Leia, she has a big role in the Senate. She should
be in this
at that point.
Yeah.
She's young, but
she's 14.
Exactly. As a 14-year-old, they just like Queen Amidala. I mean, they take political roles at a very young age, so she's going to be part of it.
I hope so. I mean, they've said before that Luke and Leia won't be a part of it, but I don't know if she just because.
Well, yeah,
maybe it's because
he's still the senator, I guess.
He is, but if they're going by what we've researched, like Bail Organa's kind of, he's less defiant. I don't know. He was more appearing to be in league with the Empire. He was more on the Empire's good side during this time. Whereas like Mon Mothma and Bail Bliss were like actively, and everybody knew it, that they were rebels.
That's
so I don't
right.
know if Bail maybe be keeping his family secret and hidden, so maybe that's why we won't see Leia.
Now, refresh my memory. Is Leia a senator during episode 4? I know she says,
so.
I'm a member of the Imperial Senate, but I don't know if she, on a diplomatic mission in Alderaan, but I don't know if she,
she couldn't be
senator.
Because did Bail Organa retire?
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know, because I thought when we researched Bail, was he still? I thought he was still involved in the Senate when he got killed.
I thought he was. So I don't know.
Well, remember the Senate got disbanded.
Yeah. Well,
right
maybe
then.
she's just meaning she was an aide or something. Like
She
that.
must have been. She must have been. But
crazy.
But during Force Unleashed, when she's held captive, but remember she's held captive on Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they referred to her as Senator Organa. I don't remember either. But
it's been a while.
Anyway,
I should play those games again.
Yeah, I haven't played the second one yet.
No,
Still,
yeah.
Even though you said it wasn't.
It was
good,
wasn't
but it was
as good.
short.
Yeah,
right?
very short. It wasn't as good as the first one.
They need to make another one. I think.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. All that stuff got put on hold.
Yeah, well,
though.
Detours even got talked about a little bit more.
Yes, Detours is, and that's a very viable explanation.
Yeah,
I think it's something that any Star Wars fan can understand. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we actually were fortunate enough to be able to see the reveal of Star Wars Detours. Right. We were down at Celebration 6 when down in Orlando when they revealed the first look of Star Wars Detours. I mean, we were just we were a group of there's 4 or 5 of us that got into an auditorium that holds 2,000, and Seth Green, Matt Senreich, they showed, and then Todd Grimes, who was the visual director of the series, showed the first. I mean, they showed a lot of clips. Apparently, what we found out just recently, what do you say? 50 or 39 episodes or something like that?
A big number like that, yeah.
They've got like 38 or 39 completed episodes of this Star Wars Detours. Now, what Star Wars Detours is basically the Robot Chicken spin on the Star Wars universe.
More kid-friendly version, yeah.
But it is canon.
That's
It was told by George Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, he said it kind of coy, but he said it. So
it's canon.
It's
Anything
canon.
George did approved. It is canon.
Yeah.
So these storylines were apparently, part of the series, but
it's very goofy stuff.
It is very goofy. I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek stuff. Like the Death Star was supposed to be.
It was a shopping mall.
It was a shopping mall. They're hiding in the fact that it's a Death Star by saying it's a big shopping mall.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dexter's Diner was like a big area there.
It's like Cheers, basically. Like
correct.
It was a big sitcom.
Everybody kind of went there. Yeah, exactly. Tatooine, the cantina had a big part of it. I mean, the Death Star was obviously huge, but you had the voices that came from Robot Chicken, Star Wars, translated over. Like Breckin Meyer was Boba Fett. Seth MacFarlane was the Emperor.
Yeah. A lot of other guys.
Yeah, I mean, you just had it was very funny. It was very good. Now, this is at a time when all we had was the Clone Wars, and we never imagined that we would ever get any more movies. So this is just the next series that was going to come out. But now that Disney bought Lucasfilm, we're getting not only the 7, 8, 9. We're getting spin-offs movies, we're getting TV shows. I mean, Rebels isn't going to be the only TV show. They're talking about a live action television show. So it does make sense to me that this new generation of, even though I don't know, what is your opinion about, like, for example, my daughter's about to be 4 years old now. She is definitely going to be very much ready, I think, to watch episode 7. I would hope, and I hope it's not too violent where, I'm pretty sure it probably might get a PG-13 rating, but I don't care. I'm going to let her see it anyway. But she's definitely, we're going to watch this new show next year, Rebels, I'm sure. I'm going to get her into Clone Wars, because now that she's older, she can go back and watch them all. Do you think that detours would have changed her view of the Star Wars universe? Because that's what they're basically saying,
honestly,
is why they're not putting it on the air.
For your daughter, I don't think because she's so young, just because, and she would have been, if the show was out now or even next fall, she would have been almost 5. Maybe at that, okay, maybe a little bit.
Because that's the age a lot of people saw the original Star Wars.
That's true.
Right?
Because if you saw any of the images, they had Darth Vader as a weird guy with a weird head, and all the stormtroopers were like tiny with big, huge heads. Like Boba Fett was really tiny with a huge head. They made them all really goofy looking, and that was
Leia was like this brat.
Yeah,
with big earmuffs, as her hair.
So if that would have probably messed with me, I would say. I mean, I could have gotten over it probably, but it would have definitely.
Well, it would have definitely
changed my first impression.
Yes,
yeah, it would have.
Like if you had never known anything about the movies.
Yeah.
If that was the first thing you saw,
yeah,
I definitely feel like, yes, I think if you eventually watched the movies, you were like, wait a minute, these aren't the same people that I knew.
Darth Vader up there. What's he gonna do? Oh,
yeah, waiting for them to make you laugh.
Yeah.
So I even though I was dying to see it and watch it, I totally understand that is not a good time, and honestly, I don't even know if it ever will.
That's what I was just now thinking, because if they're waiting for a good time to play it, so
when
there's
would
always
be?
a new generation.
Yeah, when would
up.
there would never be? There will never be if they're doing what we think they're going to do, which is, I mean, you get Abrams on here, and you're talking about solo movies and talking about you're just taking Star Wars. Into a very serious realm. I mean, you're not. I don't. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't think the feeling of Star Wars is going to be the exact same as we were when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. I mean, if anything, it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, obviously, I think it's going to get better.
Right.
But I think the comedic side of it is what isn't present. There's comedic lines and whatnot, but I think they're trying to still keep the characters as they were in the originals. Detours does not do that.
No,
unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah,
I just think they just can't put it out.
I just think eventually. If you do it too, you can't. Even though a kid doesn't understand canon, but you can make it non-canon. Yeah. But kids don't, 10-year-olds don't even know what that means, really. So
I guess it just depends on how they release it, though. Because they were talking about, video on demand stuff on this video that Seth Green was talking about. I
definitely.
I don't know.
Or honestly, straight to disc.
Yeah.
And clearly maybe put it on there, like, from the creators of Robot Chicken. You know what I mean? Like, so it's almost like Robot Chicken Star Wars, because that exists out there.
Yeah.
So it's almost in that vein, just animated, right? I mean, because Robot Chicken Star Wars hasn't really changed the view of a Star Wars fan. Actually, Star Wars fans really like that side.
Yeah.
But like the way that was done is, kids can't watch that. They cuss and everything on there.
Yeah.
So this wasn't like that. This was actually kid friendly. So it's hard to say, man, because it looked really cool.
It did.
I mean, the animation of it was really cool. And I know they spent years, because Seth Green announced that they were working on it back in 2007 at Celebration 4.
I remember that, yeah.
And it took what? When was Celebration?
5 years.
Was it 2012 we were down there? Yeah, so 5 years till we saw the first pieces of it. So, that's a lot of time and a lot of effort that may not ever see the light of day, which is unfortunate. But I can't complain because I'm getting movies.
I know.
I'm getting
movies,
TV
movies,
shows. I'm getting live action, man. I mean, even though I've seen a little bit of detours, that's not going to break. I mean, honestly, I was more heartbroken that we weren't getting a 6th season of Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, just because it was such a quick ripping off a Band-Aid, like, oh, No more. Not
Yeah.
like even there was no preparation for it.
Now, what talking? You mentioned a good point about that. Thankfully, they're going in chronological order.
Yeah.
Why do you think they did that with Clone Wars?
I think I feel like I've read about that before, but I don't know if it was because there
Was
was
it
the
poor
idea.
planning?
Either they just had the idea, it's like, oh, here's this idea, so let's make it, and like, let's not wait and do this chronologically. Like, I think they just made these stories
Random.
I don't know. They just whenever they had the story idea, I feel like they made it, or they were organizing each season by theme, and so therefore the story has to take place at this point.
Yeah,
but it has the same theme.
because I
so-
remember when it first happened. I can't remember what it was, but I remember during the first season when a story arc started. I was
Yeah.
like, "What? Wait a minute!
Yeah, like one
This
character
had already
yeah.
happened." Or I said, "That guy's in jail."
Yeah, or like he's dead. And
Like
he's
Zero
alive.
was
Yeah,
one of them.
Zero, and there was
Cad Bane was another one.
Yeah.
that he jumped around.
I'm still confused about Cad Bane.
Yeah,
I thought he died
completely.
I thought he
Yeah,
was dead,
exactly.
But I don't know. I can't tell him. Or like there was one senator who died, Onuko or whatever. He was a
Yes.
Rodian.
Yes.
He died, and then later
on he's there.
back. It's like,
That's right.
What the heck?
So there is. I think I just read it too. How they were talking about there's not a. I think it was in the Plo Koon stuff that there's not a definitive Clone Wars timeline yet. Lucasfilm hasn't released,
Yeah.
which apparently they're supposed to.
They were
eventually they're
we-
supposed to.
We were told they were going to in Celebration
Yes.
5.
Right, and they never did.
No, yeah.
So apparently, maybe I guess after this they wrap, completely wrap. The wrap production. But when they get all the episodes out there, someone will lay out a timeline for us. Hopefully, that maybe you can go back and watch
gonna
the
re-release
series in order.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty neat. Anyway,
Oh well.
a lot of stuff to talk about. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. Anyway, so we'll wrap up the show here by obviously doing some trivia. I think we're tied now, right?
I think so. I was just thinking. I feel like
Yeah,
you got
16 and 13 after
Yeah.
29 episodes. And next question is coming from 2237 here of Obsessed with Star Wars here. 2237, which is going to be Return of the Jedi.
one.
All right, here we go. Oh, I got to turn the page. 2237. Here we go. Okay, which species has a matriarchal culture with each clan led by a council of matrons?
What the fuck? Okay. A lot of big words.
Yeah, so it's
N-words.
matriarchal,
Like patriarchal, yeah.
yeah, culture. So
Okay.
which species
Yeah.
with each clan led by a council of matrons?
Okay. A lot of females.
Is it the A, Ortolans? Is it B, Ewoks? I know who they are. The C, the Gamorreans,
Yeah.
like the Gamorrean guards.
Yeah.
Or D, Yarkorka.
So
So it's
matriarchal
Culture. With each clan led by a council of matrons.
What was the first one?
The Ortolans,
Maybe I can read it.
Ewoks, the Gamorreans, or the Yarkora.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be a big surprise. Okay, because I have my guesses. I guess. but I'm gonna go with D.
I actually think it's A or D.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's the Ewoks.
Well, it's like, what if we get surprised and it's gonna be Gamorreans? So
Yeah,
I feel like
maybe it is Gamorreans.
I feel like there should be. I feel like there's something
but-
in there that told me that I read a while back saying like, oh, they have like a lot of female stuff. I don't know, but I'm gonna go with D. That sounds like a feminine name.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually go with Gamorreans
Okay,
because I don't know the other two, and I don't think it's an Ewok, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with the one I know, which is Gamorreans. I know who
Okay.
they are, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go with C. So, all right, I'll answer D for you.
Okay,
All right, here we go.
Gotcha.
No, and the answer is C. Gamorreans.
Oh, there you go.
Finally, I
In the
guessed
lead.
right. Finally, I guessed
Very
right.
good. Yeah. I
I was gonna go. I was gonna go A. I
Yeah.
was gonna go A, but
I feel like I might have read that somewhere, but yeah. There you go.
I had no idea. That was a complete guess. All right, so that does it for this week's show. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next week with episode 31 to finish out the Clone Wars month. Check us out on Popular Fanatics. Me and Casey are guests on there talking about the movies. We talked about A New Hope 2 weeks ago. Last week, The Empire Strikes Back. This week, Return of the Jedi.
Real quick, also the release of the DVDs.
That's right. We recorded a little earlier last week. The re-release of the Blu-rays DVD combo came out last week, October 8th. Haven't heard a single thing about it.
So I'm surprised.
Apparently, I don't think anybody bought them. I actually read in a lot of forums today that people were like, if I buy them, it's just because of the artwork, the boxes, but you're not getting anything different as far as I heard. I don't think there's any additions. Mm-hmm. The only thing different, obviously, is you haven't had this version on DVD.
Oh, that's right. The Blu-ray version on DVD.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. If you didn't buy the Blu-rays and you have your old DVD still, this has the changes that were made on the Blu-ray on the DVD. So the Blu-ray in itself, I don't think has any changes. At least I haven't heard. I searched for it today, couldn't find anything about it. So and then this week, when actually the day this comes out, you are able to buy the Clone Wars Season 5 and the box set of the entire series up until now. As Casey mentioned, the rest of Season 6 or whatever extra stuff we're getting at the beginning of next year. Yeah. So that's why we're doing it. Clone Wars this month. Yeah. I think it's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow that the thing's coming out? I'm pretty sure it's
Tuesdays.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. So, all right. Like I said, check us out on Popular Fanatics where we talk about Return of the Jedi and the prequel movies next week. We will be back in episode 31 next week to finish out Clone Wars month leading into November. Man, the end of the year almost.
Yay.
All right. Thanks for listening. I am D Cottingham21 on Twitter. Casey here is Kryptonian1138. We are at Inside the Force on Twitter, InsideTheForce.com. Check us out there. Subscribe to our RSS feed, iTunes. Listen to all the episodes right there on the website. For Casey Cooley.
When you ask for trouble, you should not be surprised when it finds you. Plo Koon, Clone Wars.
Nice.
Watch it.
All right. I'm David Cottingham. Thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out next week, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.